There are approximately 4,000 hidden indigenous Igorot artifacts stored at the basement secret vaults of the Field Museum in Chicago. These are the artifacts of my people, my ancestors, the indigenous Igorots of the Philippines. As much as I value connecting to my roots through these artifacts, I've come to realize that there's something much more important to connect to, and that is my supernatural roots as a Roman Catholic. Unfortunately, like the hidden artifacts of my ancestors, there have been a lot of Catholic treasures that have been hidden for the last 50 years or so. Join me in this series of hidden treasures as I reveal these Catholic treasures one by one. As I do, ask yourself, why have they been hidden? And have we benefited from that?
So I'm over here at the shrine of the Institute of Christ the King Sovereign Priest in Chicago, and I want to introduce to you a hidden treasure, and that is an Advent hidden treasure. Of all the different Advent traditions, my favorite one is an Advent tradition that comes from the Philippines, and it's called Simbang Gabi. Now, Simbang Gabi itself is not a hidden tradition. It's a long practice, a long tradition that goes way back centuries. I won't go into the details of it, but in the link below I'm going to link an article I wrote about it explaining further Simbang Gabi and its tradition. But basically, in a nutshell, it's kind of like in Mexico they have posadas, which is the 9 days where they go from house to house doing prayers and reenactment of the nativity and whatnot. Simbang Gabi is a Filipino tradition. It's a novena. It's a 9-day novena of consecutive masses starting on the 16th and ending on Christmas Eve. Simbang Gabi isn't so much a hidden treasure in that it existed for many years and centuries, but for me, I didn't discover Simbang Gabi until the early 1990s, when a priest here in the Chicagoland Diocese area revived it, and it started out with him having a few families in one church having a Simbang Gabi Mass at one church one evening, and then the next night those same people would invite other people, and they would go to a different church and have a Simbang Gabi Mass then, and then the third night again. So there would be a total of 9 different churches where all these families and these Filipinos would gather and have a Simbang Gabi Mass. And that's the key thing about Simbang Gabi. The reason why it is a hidden treasure, I say, because number one, I didn't really know about it, but even more so a hidden treasure because it really doesn't exist the way it did when it first started in the old rite. So it would be safe to say for majority, if not most Filipinos here in America, the hidden treasure would be the Simbang Gabi in the old rite. I think it is time for us, especially Filipinos, to connect to our roots. And what I say about connecting to our roots is one big tradition, one big part of our roots is our Simbang Gabi, which started out in the old rite, which started out in the traditional liturgy, the old Latin Mass. And that needs to be revived. By connecting to that, I think we can restore the sacred of Advent and the sacred of Simbang Gabi, which is very much diminished these days, because these days Simbang Gabi and even Advent in general has been so, the sacredness of it has been so diminished, where we forget about the preparedness, the penance, the prayers. A lot of people even call Advent Little Lent. Instead, many Catholics have gone along with the world and have turned Advent into a Christmas celebration. Even if you look in that article I mentioned, if you check out that article that I have linked below, I mentioned this one guy who wouldn't go to Mass, who didn't go to Simbang Gabi Mass because he felt it was a little bit too festive, and he felt the sacredness, I guess, was being removed from it. And that's so true. If you go to a Simbang Gabi Mass, in the new Mass, the Novus Ordo Masses that they have today. These days, they sing Christmas carols, and it's almost like celebrating rather than preparing for Christmas. So that's even more of a reason for us to connect to our roots, to connect to our Catholic roots, to connect to our traditional Filipino roots, which is rooted in the old rite with the Simbang Gabi. I hope you enjoy this video of today's Mass at the Institute of Christ the Sovereign Priest.
Grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now